Good morning, Switzerland, and good day to you, world. We're live at Baden Masters 2013. We're into the semi-final, and we're seeing Michel of Switzerland fighting against Brad Gushue from Newfoundland and Labrador. My name is Daniel Schifferle. I'm joined today by Roger Goka.
Good morning. It's a
Morning,
pleasure to be
Roger.
here this morning.
It's been a clean first end here. Nothing unexpected happened. Brad Gushue is having last rock, and we'll see him playing a clearing here. I guess a very typical first end.
Yeah, I think it's also quite, especially for Michel, I think he likes to hit off in a bit at the start. And then we'll probably try and play more offense in the second end. It's also the morning, first game. Maybe the ice conditions are also a little bit different, so the two teams don't want to take too many risks right off the start. It's still the semi-final, and how do you say, what's at stake is starting to be quite big now.
Precise clearing here. We have a first blank end. And we'll go into the second end, Gushue having hammer. Both teams did really well in this tournament. I think both were unbeaten during the round robin, so we really are expecting here a very high level game. As you may know, Michel is the Swiss representative in Sochi 2014, so this team has been practicing hard during the summer, as where Brad Gushue doesn't have any ice yet in Newfoundland, so his team couldn't really practice yet. Still, they're here in the semi-final in Baden. What do you think, Roger? Is it a big advantage for the Swiss that they have already routine in this season?
Well, already last year, they had done a lot of practice during the summer, and they won that tournament. This year again, they were quite serious this summer. Well, anyway, they're going to be the Olympic team, so now for them, it's not the time to take a break. So I think that, when you come in like nicely trained, you already have, back your routines. You're used to communicating again, because at the start of the season, you need to sort of readjust everything, And I suppose, of course, it gives them clearly an advantage. I mean, there's ice in Adelboden all year round. So, yeah, clearly helps. And indeed, Michel and Gushue are both the unbeaten teams of that tournament. So, good team in perspective. And you see that there's some offense going on now. Michel having played some hitting games with Gushue, now starts the end with a center guard. And Gushue's lead being a little bit slow, allow him to draw behind it and try and take some good position in the center.
Simon Gempler, the Swiss lead here, trying to draw right into the rings. Now it really starts to curl here. They really have to drag it, keep it online. As you can see, we have a lot of curl in Baden, which of course is amazing. I think speaking with the teams, the ice conditions were really appreciated.
Yeah, it's I always say that, but it's true that sometimes you always forget about also the other people that you never see and who actually make that competition happen. Without the Iceman, I mean, the players will not be able to perform the games that they do. Because we all know that if the ice conditions are worse, well, the level of play will also drop, because it will be harder for the players also to anticipate everything.
A sweep by the Canadians here to keep GF Walker's rock on track. Still a very straightforward game here, nothing special. It's really, really just a waiting game. Wait on your opponent to make a mistake, basically.
Yeah, or a half miss, whatever. You just need a little opening. Nice sweeping there.
Nice work by the Swiss to keep it online. Unfortunately, Rock shifts out on the other side, rolling right into the 12-foot, and really gives the Canadians a first chance for a nice roll behind those two front guards. And in the best case, they'll be sitting top 4-foot, buried. It's Adam Casey trying to do exactly that.
They get hit and roll. We saw in the game yesterday that this is something that they do quite well yesterday against Peter de Cruz.
And against myself.
Yeah.
I was really, really impressed by their hitting precision. Unfortunately, Adam Casey was a little bit on the slower side here.
Yeah. Well, he's still got a little roll, which probably stops the center tray from being able to hit and roll behind. We'll see what they do. Seems a little wide. The sweepers are completely off it. It's back.
It's back now.
He touched it.
Now we really see the first big chance for the Canadians here to score 2 as they are having the hammer.
Yep. Now they have a good option to take some good position in the house. The rock hanging out on the side. Not very, very dangerous in a way, but it's there. And they have that possibility to put that second draw in to put more pressure on Sven Michel.
Now it's really, really important that they are staying in front of the tee line, because if they go over the tee line, drag it right behind the tee line, then they would leave the chance for Sven Michel to freeze it.
Yeah, exactly. Still must remember that they have last rock, and playing in the middle is a little bit risky, and that you're not allowed to be behind the tee line.
I think Adam Casey just thought that, and
thought that a little bit too hard. Yeah,
probably just took too much weight off.
Yeah, well, which is I would say not a very good result, knowing that now Sven Michel can actually ignore that rock. As we said, it's not very dangerous, but now it's really, really not dangerous, knowing that Adam Casey failed his draw. That gives now 3 center guards for Sven Michel to go and hide behind. That's how the test is going
Teams giving presents to each other way before Christmas here.
It's a really nice draw.
Beautiful.
You'd admire really well the swing at the end. See how well it's buried behind all those guards.
Brett Gallant, the Canadian third, is looking to open things up here.
Yeah, and we
He
saw.
used to play skip for the longest time in juniors. I think he is record holder as a junior Canadian champion.
Exactly, that was in 2009. And he lost the final to Rasmus Stjerne at the World Championships. And I was going to say that we saw also against De Cruz that Brett Gallant is really, really good at peeling. And there we see a
beautiful shot.
Wow. We nearly see triple takeout. It's quite unfortunate that this yellow rock remains in the ring, so in a way he's going to still be glad by clearing out the center. I think it stops Sven Michel from having a good chance to steal. But now it will be tough for Brad Gushue to, let's say, in theory, of course, score more than one now. with hits and stays. I suppose Brad Gushue is going to try probably a hit and roll or a freeze. Yeah, hit and roll finally. Hit and roll freeze.
Well, the thing is, you don't want to go for a freeze here, I guess, since the score is still 0-0.
Yeah.
It's not worth the risk, I guess. Freeze is considered one of the hardest shots in curling, whereas hit and stay or even hit and roll
Yeah,
be in the standard repertoire of a player.
I think it's a good idea knowing that the rock here is really in the center. So we need to remove this rock, try and roll in front of the other ones to try and force Michel maybe to a mistake. And exactly like this. Perfect. Once again.
Brett Gillhands is really on his A game today, or I would say even throughout the weekend.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he had a 96% success against Peter de Cruz yesterday. I mean, he's really on fire, and I mean, like you're saying, you have to make the shots, but if you can get the little extra, I mean, he made the shot. He hit that rock in the center, but he really got that perfect roll, which forces the Swiss now to some more complicated shot, gives them a little, let's say, well, playing a harder shot, they have less chance of success, and so that's all benefit for Brad Gushue in the end. So I think it was a good tactical choice.
Really straight here.
Yeah.
Big miss by the Swiss skip.
And just as we said there, by forcing him to play a more complicated shot, mistakes can happen.
So Brad Gushue from Newfoundland, Labrador, the 2006 Canadian Olympic Winter Game champion, is going to draw right onto the tee line in order to score 2 in this point, in this end. He'll be trying to get as much separation between the two rocks as possible.
Yeah. So hard sweeping. It's very important to be lying second shot. Brad Gushue yelling at his sweepers.
And he's just short.
Yeah, Canadians a little bit more efficient on takeouts than draws in this end. They've been making amazing takeouts, and their draws haven't just come the way they wanted. Maybe that the speed of the ice has changed a bit this morning compared to maybe the 2 other competition days. Many factors can influence the quality, the conditions of the ice, the weather outside, and the number of people who are in the ice rink playing. You know, like sometimes you play a game and you play an extra end, and all the other sheets finish their games, and then suddenly you're the 2 only teams on the ice, and it changes the ice conditions, yeah. So there's all those little aspects who come into consideration, and so now it's the morning and less teams on the ice. Only 2 games this morning.
The more people, the more cozy it gets.
Yep.
Exactly, yeah.
Whoa! Oh, yep, yep. Oh.
No second thoughts here. Sven Michel, very precise this time around.
Yep. Perfect. So if you actually any questions or comments on the game, you can always write to us at our email address that you see at the bottom of the page, live@curlingchampionstour.org. Actually, we also have a Facebook page. It's called livecurlinglaula.tv. So you can you're always welcome to join that page, and you'll find all the links and everything every time that there's a game broadcasted, all the information. And for all the questions you have, you can send us an email. Don't hesitate. It's always nice to have some feedback from actually all over the world.
We see Gushue scoring 1 point in the second end. Actually, they were just able to score 1 point here, as the sweepers really had to pound on that rock. Interestingly enough, he decided for the hit, which you already pointed out. I think the Gushue side is a hitting team more than.
I think today they're more on their hits right now than maybe some other days. Probably the right option, you know. Those kinds of shots are a question of feeling. It's whatever you feel best. And understandably, they felt best to take out in that one.
So after 2 ends, we are at the score of 1-0 advantage. Gushue.
And now Jeff Walker getting ready to throw.
You think they're going into the rings, or?
I think he'll play in front.
Team Canadian?
Yeah, good old Canadian style. Yeah, I think probably he'll just play in front. Never know. No, I think Gushue wants it in the house, actually.
Yep. They're going top 4 foot.
Yeah, maybe they're going for one in the house. Expect a corner guard and place a guard in their second shot. Seems that Jeff Walker is a bit slow. They really have been missing their draws on the slow side there, actually. They haven't been fast, just too slow. So, probably, yeah, so it's probably the ice conditions also probably maybe confused them a bit. The ice is maybe a little bit slower this morning. So.
Simon Gempler already going for a take shot here.
Yeah, it's quite a good idea. Who's brought in by Al Moore, I'd say.
Well done.
Oh.
Just perfect.
Strange that Gushue didn't try maybe to sweep his rock outside.
Yeah, no kidding.
He would have got it out for sure. But indeed, it's one of those new tactics that I think are quite interesting because, for example, instead of playing a draw behind the guard, you try a tick shot, and if you split them well, you can get 2 corner guards. So your opponent plays a center guard, you tick it, you got 2 corner guards. That's it. So maybe that's what he wanted to do to get it as the end result. He at least has 1 corner guard, which is good.
Or even if you just push it behind the tee line and stay with the shooter as a corner guard, it's a much better result than, let's say, sitting behind the guard and behind the tee line in worst case. So we see more and more teams practicing this shot now, as it really gives you a tool to mix up your tactics and make things a lot more interesting.
Hier, 5, 5. Achtung. Verlänge. 5. Yep. Goed lengte. Yep. Goed lengte. Oh. Is hier, hè? Doe het nog weer. Tia! Tia, kom ik!
And especially like now teams leads really practice, especially those tick shots are really important to make a big difference. So first of all, now generally they were used, you know, in like the last ends when one team has got to steal, let's say tied, and one team has to steal, the other one has to score with last rock, and so the team would start with the center guard, and then the other ones would try and tick it out. So leads would practice to do that, but it would be only, for example, in one end of the game. As now, as we saw, they do it already in the third end for different reasons. It's more like as an offensive tool than more a defensive tool. And for example, I always think about Lisa Weigel from Team Homan, who is really an expert now in those tick shots. Is really what she's famous for. and she makes them really amazingly well, especially last year at the World Championships in Riga.
As Adam Casey just missed that run back, Sandro Trollier is now trying to split the house by dividing the two rocks. So he seems a little bit on the narrow side. Okay, that was plan B. Turned out pretty well.
I don't think there's a double, but there's a good freeze possibility later on that rock in the center. I think Brad will just try and make a little hit and roll. Probably, yeah. Back barrier weight, as the Scottish would say.
Adam Casey running that rock right back onto the scoring rock, now sitting one.
Another
They
good take
really
on the
are
Canadians.
precise on their hits, eh?
Yep, yep.
So here we have Team Sven Michel from m.baden, Swiss representative 2014 at the Olympic Winter Games in Sochi, Russia. With skip Sven Michel, third Claudia Patz, second Sandro Trollier, and of course their lead Simon Gempler. They are currently still champion of the Baden Masters.
Yeah, actually defending champions last year. I don't know if you remember. They were playing the final against Peter de Cruz, which we saw yesterday against Brad Gushue. All those teams were there last year. This year, Peter de Cruz didn't make it do as good as they were eliminated in the group phase. And now it's the big semifinal. So now I think Sven Michel wants to remove this center guard, as it's very, very dangerous for him. As can be very useful by Brad Gushue. I mean, you can either draw behind, push it.
Yeah, rocks sitting just short of the house are really, really dangerous, especially in the center when there are some more guards around. So here we have Team Gushue from Newfoundland, Labrador, with, of course, their skip, Brad Gushue, Brett Gallant, their third, Adam Casey second, and Geoff Walker, their lead. Brad Gushue was the Olympic gold medalist 2006, whereas Brett Gallant, just now in the picture, is, I think, still the record holder for the most Canadian junior titles. Oh, no, championships played, sorry for that. Back then, representing PEI. Now I think that's the second or third year he's playing with Brad Gushue. Brad Gushue really is known for changing up his teammates once in a while. He's around for a couple of years, whereas the other guys are going up and down with Gushue now. They have been at the bottom for the past 5 or 6 years. Still the lone ranger from Canada. but most welcome guests, as they are usually one of the top teams and favorites to win.
Ja, gut, gut so. So hoch. Ja.
So I see we just got in a question about the ice conditions from Walter. We were mentioning the problem or the phenomenon that with the changing amount of people in the ice rink, the ice conditions are changing. In fact, you could basically say that the more people that are in the rink, the quicker the ice gets, and the less people, slower the ice gets. You can really experience that when you're playing, let's say, like here in Baden, in a 4-sheet rink, and the game next to you on the right side is already over, whereas on the other side the game's still running. It really can occur that the right side of the sheet is a little bit slower than the other side, and if you're going for, let's say, into an extra end, whereas all other games are already over, you'll see quite a big speed drop. So
Ja, für mich
especially
hat
the
es überlegt,
sweepers,
ob
but
er
also the
schießt.
skip have really to pay attention to that.
Nicht
I don't know,
sicher.
how do you have a solution for that? I think in our team, one guy sort of has the job to see and control the ice conditions speed-wise, and really have an eye for that one. I think most teams have it that way.
Yeah, no, I even experienced that there was, for example, Frost who came up on the ice after some teams left. After, it depends really the organizations of the teams, but generally speaking, there's a few, how to say, the sweepers usually in general will see that quite quickly, that one side is slower than the other, if ever it occurs. You know, like at the level we're seeing there, and even at amateur levels, lots of players are used to using, for example, time watches. So you time the rock when the player throws, and then you have an idea of the speed, and you can compare from the beginning and the end of the game. I mean, if two rocks are thrown at the same speed, where do they arrive? And the sweepers also have the eye for that, so they have times their personal impressions, and they can sort of, you know, like say the ice has gone faster, slower, etc. And then it's also very vital information for the skip, because we were talking yesterday about communication in the team, and how, you know, you need to have a good exchange of information, and what we often forget is that the skip, who has to throw a lot of very important draws, is in the worst position actually to see the speed, because he's on the other side of the ice when people throw the rocks, so his sweepers must really be able to communicate him the speed, really, of the ice very properly. And like say, oh, be careful, this side a little bit slower, play, I don't know, 290, and if this side is a little bit faster, you can play 3 seconds. You know, those kinds of informations that are shared in the team.
Exactly, and that's why I think it's very interesting that Sven Michel tried to draw in to the rings here, as he's not having hammer, and Gushue lie one half buried.
No, he has hammer.
You know, having hammer, but still, Gushue is lying one buried. It's interesting that he tried that in the third end already. As you said, it's the ice conditions are not easy to read, and especially on the side of the sheet. So
yeah, this is usually constant, is that knowing that usually you play more in the middle than on the sides. When you play more on the sides, the ice will be a little bit different. Well, generally speaking, when you start the game, the ice is a little bit, let's say, slow, and then you start throwing rocks and it gets a bit faster. then at the end of the game usually tends to be back a little bit slower. And, but on the sides, it's always a little bit different, knowing that less rocks have been played. But I think that probably Michel was thinking, well, he's got that red rock perfectly buried behind the guard. If I play a hit, I'll probably not be able to stay. And he'll just place another one, and I'll be screwed. I'll have to throw for one anyway, so why not just draw right now and go for the 2?
Oh, wow, Brad Gushue.
Yeah, the Canadian team is back on their draws, I would say.
Half buried behind the guard and the rock in front of the rings. We'll see Sven Michel throwing hack weight, I guess. Or in back line.
I don't know, I think we were just showing maybe, yeah, like a little bit more than T-line draw.
Well, that's just me adjusting or suggesting from their from the ice they're giving.
Sven Michel speaks for a little bit more. You often see that the skips wanting like perfect precision. It's for like 2 centimeters more of ice.
Tia! 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 Good lang. Tia!
The sweeper's really pounding on this one. Will they be able to drag it and keep it on line?
Tia! Ale! Tia! Tia, trilla
It's close, it's close.
It's close.
Seems like
And tremendous sweeping by the Swiss. Just enough.
I think
Wow.
that's one yellow, and that was really close.
That was really, really close. Yeah, you can see the hours spent in the gym.
Yeah, that makes a difference. Because they really took it from the beginning to the end. And, I mean, yeah, it was funny because the sweepers were saying, good speed, and they were yelling for the direction, and in the end, without their sweeping, the speed would have been bad also. So,
yeah.
So it was really, really, once again, a perfect team shot. Everybody's, the 2 people sweeping swept like hell, and the 2 other ones saw the direction very well.
So we are 3 ends into the semi-final at the Baden Masters 2013. It's Sven Michel from Switzerland against Brad Gushue. Score is 1-1. Gushue having hammer in the 4th. My name is Daniel Schifferle, and next to me is Roger Gulka. Thanks for joining us here live at Curling Champions Tour 2013.
And so this event, the Curling
it's
Champions
great.
Tour,
Oh,
is
it's
presented
great.
by foxyapp.ch.
Linie ist gut jetzt. Kommt sie 4, ha? Mister? Ja, kommt. 3 la. Ja. Ja, aber dann müsst ihr jetzt hören. Nein. Nein, ist gut. Drill ist gut. Gut so. Jetzt kurz mit dem. Wieder zu Eis. Die Seite hört.
And 1-1 in the
61.
starting the 4th end. 2 teams really close in that semifinal at the Baden Masters here in Switzerland.
Just to give you an update on what's happening next to our feature game here, of course, there's another semi-final going on where Thomas Olsrud from Norway is playing against Team Hess from Switzerland. Right now it's Thomas Olsrud having scored 1 point in the 2nd end, where Team Hess is having hammer here in the 3rd. It's nice to see 2 Swiss teams again in the semi-final.
Yep.
So the Swiss are always around the top teams here at an event in Switzerland, but still, it's nice to see that we have lots of teams on that level.
Yeah, but we're cheating because we have home advantage. But anyway, yeah, it's always nice to see all competitive teams. I mean, well, it has title last year, didn't manage to reach the Swiss Championships for some reason, but he played the final the year before. So good team in the Swiss side. And I think that this season they're back up to, let's say, for a little, to try and forget their season from last year. Well, they played good going Champions Tour tournament, but really I think they had some trouble in the A League and didn't manage to qualify for the Swiss Champs. There's only six teams who qualify.
Yes, only 6 teams.
So you really have to make your spot, and it's never guaranteed. You know, it's curling.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows it. You're never sure to win every time. Things can turn bad.
Have it. Okay.
Swiss second trying to hit and roll onto the center. I just rolled a tiny bit too much here, leaving the shot rock wide open. So Adam Casey's got a direction to go for, and of course he's trying to go for a hit and roll. Nice touch here. I think it's really nice that you see more and more teams really with the easy weight, touch feeling.
Yeah, it's always like pleasant shots to watch. You know, a nice, perfect control weight takeout.
Whereas Sandro Trollier is bringing the big weight here for a double takeout.
Just curled a little bit too much. Quite disappointed. And Brad Gushue in a pretty good position. I have to say that since now he has usually been in better positions than Michel, who has kind of been always running after.
Yeah, looking back, Team Gushue made a really good impression here as they really put up the pressure. It was they really telling what they want to do. They were controlling the game right from the beginning.
Yeah. And you always manage to have what we call, you know, impose your strategy to your opponent. Like, if you make your shots a little bit better, then you dictate what the other one has to play, and you force him sometimes to play some more difficult shot than those you have to play. Pretty good shot here, I think. Mr. Casey.
Base. Ja. Komm, Sven, innen. Ja. Gut.
So if you have any questions or comments, please give us a shout. We are reachable by email at live@curlingchampionstour.org, or you can always join us on Facebook. Live Curling on Lola1.tv is our group's name. Nice shot here by Sandro Trollier, or Claudio Pats, excuse me.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of saving shots, I think. Removing the most dangerous Canadian rock in the house. The other one being behind the rings and completely open. So send Michel back in the end, but now it's Brett Gallant's turn to throw.
Looking for a come around here. And they just missed the sweeping on this one. really leaving, I think, a double takeout.
Gut, aber es kreuzt.
So können wir.
Ja, ich sehe etwa ein Viertel mehr als ganz.
You hit it just off the nose, roll behind
Der Rock geht nicht raus nachher.
the yellow rock in
Einer geht
front of
raus.
the house or
Zweite
in front of the 12 foot.
Schnell wird spielen.
There's not much space, but the shot is there. The double
Wir
takeout
können aber
there.
auch so.
You don't even need a double. You can
Yeah.
just hit and roll behind.
Yeah.
Wie viel
And
sind
then
auseinander?
if you made a double, you would be lying 4, which would be
So.
quite good.
Okay.
Sven Michel is looking at it. He knows
Nehmen
this
wir
is
so.
what we call those key shots.
Schneller.
Looking at the shots, if you make them, it makes a really, really big difference.
Halt!
Wenig, 2/3.
Sometimes you can lose a game actually on one missed shot, you know. If you miss the wrong one, then you can be beaten, even though you play, let's say, 95% the whole game.
So the Pats bringing the big weight, looking.
I think he's a little bit wide.
He is on the wide side.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this one really didn't turn out too well, as Brad Gushue is lying shot buried. Now he's just gonna draw around, as he's pointing out here, coming right to the top of the 4 foot, and then he'll be in really good shape.
Yeah. Yeah, he's trying to take position in this so-called control zone in front of the tee line and in front of the blue circle. And so, yep, that's, as you see when the players try usually to draw behind a guard, it's always there that they show. So now he tries to get, let's say, a 2-in-1, like putting a rock in front of the tee line in a good, say, controlling position, and making a freeze to that rock in the back the hardest possible. If ever that shot is made, then you have a really good good position in the house. He's also looking at the hit and roll, which is not such a bad option, knowing that Sven still has, oh no, he doesn't have last rock, sorry. Just to make sure he doesn't take too many risks.
But they decided for the come around. I think that's the best decision here.
Yeah, well, I think
As
that
you say, you know, you can always be short too, closing it down for Michel to draw around.
yeah, but I think that whatever will happen after that, Sven Michel will probably try a freeze or something on that red rock at the back of the 4 foot, from the left or from the right, I think, on either side.
Recommend drawing around. Jumped on that one right immediately, but just missed it.
Yeah, he won't be very satisfied again. I
No.
wonder actually if it
On the
opens
other
the rock
side,
or not.
it turned out quite alright, as it.
Da ist mehr Platz.
Mehr Platz, ja. Da haben wir schon jetzt geleitet, oder? Du hast noch geleitet im ersten. Im zweiten.
Da kommst du gut hin. Da kannst du so.
Yeah, that rock is a little bit open, but it's still quite tough to go through.
Einfach
Could
Angst.
try, for example, a fast takeout,
Doppel
just
kann spielen, wenn wir
pick
hier-
it out, or they can
Da kann er
play the
hier auch.
draw.
Nimm da meinst
Ja, da kann er hier auch.
Both
Well,
options are
now
possible.
Michel is in a pretty good position to steal the end after all.
Aber wenn
Well,
er
after
hier
that
ist,
miss,
kann er
indeed,
dann
yes, he's in a really good position there. The Canadians haven't been able to
So.
kind of, you know,
So.
force them really with that miss.
du? Er kann auch halb raus schauen.
Actually, the second time though, they were in better positions. I also remember it was in the second end when there was a missed shot from Sven Michel, and Brad Gushue didn't manage, you know, to put that shot to really force them.
Müssen die Seite, ja.
And now he's putting them back in the end by allowing them to free draw to
Auf dieser Seite drum.
rock behind the tee line, behind guards, which is really what you're dreaming of
Drittel, ja.
if you want to steal.
75. Ja. Ganz geil anwischen. Ganz vier, ne? Ja.
Sven Michel with
Vier!
what could be a key shot, actually, as we are in the 4th end. And they, by stealing this end, they have the chance to come back into the even ends, so-called,
Nummer 4!
which would be equal with having hammer at the beginning of the game.
Noch nicht! Weiter!
This one's not heavy enough.
Yeah, once again, a draw missed on the short side, let's say. And that's what we can call a miss after a miss. You know, it's like, it's very, very frustrating, those kinds of situations, because misses don't happen very often at that level. So when, you know, they happen, like Brett Gallant wrecking on the guard, you really must jump on the chance. I mean, leave no chance, because you won't get that many big misses. So once you get it, you really have to capitalize as much as you can on it, which, well, they haven't done, even though they took a good position in front of the tee line. But now it's Brad Gushue's turn to play, so he can make something out of it now.
He's trying for a easy weight hit and roll, sitting buried.
Yep.
Brad Gushue of Newfoundland Labrador trying to get his team in good shape to score 2 here at the Baden Masters 2013 semi-final 4th end. Heavy sweeping here. Will they be able to drag it by? And they just got it in.
A really nice shot from Brad Gushue. Puts Sven Michel in quite a complicated situation. Yeah, he can either do the right raise, little tap back. He's more looking at the direct draw, which is not such an easy shot because of those
tap
two
back
guards.
would be easier here.
Yeah, I don't know. He just played on that side, so he probably knows the ice. Well, they also play on the other sides.
Yeah, but I mean, there's still the red rock 2 meters in front of the house.
Well, he has to be careful about red guard on the right.
Yeah.
Very important shot for Sven Michel.
And now the front end of the Swiss side is suggesting the tap back, as they think it's a little bit easier.
Yeah. He should be careful, though, not to put too much confusion in their skip's mind.
So they take the entire team to the rings to discuss it. I think it's important that you do not over-discuss shots like that. You really have to consider all the options, that's true, but as you say, you might just confuse the player a bit.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that a lot yesterday. All those situations where you start talking so long that in the end you miss the shot, you know? And we saw that quite often yesterday. Even though those kinds of shots probably have to be in a way a team decision. Whole team has to agree about what to do. Even though I think in the end the skip has really the last word, knowing he plays the shot. So I think it's also really a question of feeling. I mean, he's got actually a few options. He can try the direct draw if he feels he can make it. He's got 2 rocks he can tap back. I mean, he has lots of options in a way. It's really what he feels the best.
So in the end, they decided for the tap back. My personal favorite. Let's see whether Sven Michel is able to tap it back into shot position or only second.
Yeah.
Oh!
Set!
Oh, it's a really crucial shot up with the Swiss. Facing 2 without
Oh,
last
curling
rock.
hard here.
stress in their voice.
It looks pretty heavy to me, though.
Oh my God.
That is a big miss.
Yeah, I think they were, how to say, confused because the rock was a little slow, but it was also a little wide. So they had to sweep it for speed, but they couldn't sweep it too much for direction. And yeah, it's, like we say, it's a bad miss, you know.
It is a bad miss.
You really
As we said, we are in the key fourth end.
Actually, it's once again a big discussion and unsuccessful shot. Even though, well, he leaves a draw for 3, but at least the draw for 3 is quite tough. So we'll see what Brad Gushue can do now.
Interestingly enough, Brad Gushue is deciding now for the other side, whereas the Swiss decided on that draw might just be a little bit too hard.
It would be interesting if he makes the perfect freeze on his own shot.
Yeah. We might get a close-up of the Swiss faces if he does that.
Okay.
Brad Gushue drawing for 3 in the 4th end here in the semi-final.
Take a big decisive advantage in the game. 3-point
Look on
lead.
his face.
4 ends left to play.
Really have to wait
Seems
on
a
this
little
with a
bit
curl.
fast, in my
With a
opinion.
curl. And it just
And
curled.
oh la la, oh la la,
Oh, wow. Beautiful weight control here.
All right.
Scoring
that was it.
3 in the 4th end of the semi-final.
That was
At the m.baden Master 2013, Brad Gushue of Newfoundland, Labrador, Canada. Now with a score 4 against 1.
Yeah, and I think Sven Michel really wanted to swap the color of that rock.
Yes. No
Because
kidding.
that was the shot he called first. Yeah, sometimes, you know, also, I mean, like we were saying, it's kind of a feeling situation because he had a few options and he chose the draw. You know, well, his sweepers maybe told him you can do something else, okay, but maybe, I don't know, it confused him a bit, but also sometimes, you know, your first option is sometimes the best, you know, it's not worth thinking too much, you know, it's because really, I mean, he has to make a shot really, really good, and whatever he chooses cannot be wrong. And so this m.baden Masters curling
Brought to you by foxyapp.ch. Your success is our business.
Yeah. We're now live on laola1.tv from Baden, Switzerland, watching the semi-final of the m.baden Masters. Our featured game is Brad Gushue from Canada leading 4-1 against Sven Michel from Switzerland, the defending champion and current also Swiss champion, and the Olympic team for Switzerland. I'm Roger Gulka, and I'm commenting here with Daniel Schifferle.
Thanks, Roger. On the other sheet, besides of our feature game, we are seeing Team Pascal Hess from Switzerland playing Thomas Olsrud from Norway, of course. Hess is leading this game after 3 ends with 2-1.
Yep, they're playing the 4th now, and they're in a pretty good situation. We'll keep you updated on the result during the game.
Geoff Walker now looking to go into the rings. There will be really a game of shooting now for the Canadians. It will be very interesting to see whether the Swiss will be able to get back at the Canadians. As we mentioned, the Canadians really are on top of their game when it comes to hits. So let's see what the Swiss can do.
Yeah, that 3 is really a big shot there, especially in the 4th end. If ever now the Canadians can manage to force Sven Michel to score 1, they would retake the advantage of the last rock in the 6th and score the 6th, which is always a an important end to score. It almost guarantees you having the last rock in the last end. So I suppose plan for Gushue now is to fold the game by letting Michel score 1 and score 2 in the 6th.
Adam Casey looking for the clearing. No big deal for him. Precise as ever. Opening things up, and Sven Michel will put up this guard right again. They need a corner guard to score 2, or make it easier to score 2.
Yep.
In general, you always want to take the game onto the side of the sheet if you have last rock advantage. Whereas without last rock advantage, you want to keep things to the center line, keep things to the center of the house, and try to build a wall where he can steal behind.
Exactly. Well, right now though, I find Saint Michel is quite a bit of trouble. That missed draw at the beginning, at the end there, ending up in front of the house, frozen with an angle at the top 12 foot, which you will see very soon in your image. There you go. It really is not helping Michel a lot. He will have to play there at some point, and he has to expect from his team a really good freeze now in the middle.
Which side would you draw around? I prefer actually the right side from this angle.
So you hit your yellow. Yeah, I wonder if maybe one side curls a little bit more than the other one also.
Michel deciding for the other side though. I think I've heard the sweepers discussing the weight control. They are still not really certain what weight is the perfect weight on the right side, as it seems still a bit, let's say, hard.
It's like the weight is quite good. Looks fast, and then it kind of stops at the end, but no, indeed.
Oh, this one's really heavy.
Yeah. Misjudging. Yeah, it doesn't curl that much. You really need to have the perfect weight there with the rocks the way they are to manage to freeze. Stay shot in front of that red rock. But actually, I think you're probably right. I would have probably also played on the right-hand side, except if the left-hand side curls much more, you know. But 'cause if you hit your yellow, you kind of split things up.
Exactly.
As if you are inside and hit the red directly, you might just push it behind your yellow and not do very much.
Gushue calling the sweepers off. Might have been a little bit too early here. And this one will stick around.
Good shot.
Kanskje så.
Ik hoor zo.
11, 10,5, 11.
Ja, 11.
Claudio Pats now with easy way takeout, trying to hit the yellow on the right hand side and open things up a little bit, but sticking around.
Achtung.
When you're 3 behind, you really want to have as much rocks in game as possible. But this one turned out all right.
What?
Turned out really well, actually, as both yellow rocks are now in the game.
Yep. Brad Gushue still has to be a little careful there now, I think. Just make sure he doesn't suddenly leave a chance for for 2 or even maybe 3 to send Michel. I think scoring 3 for Michel will be quite tough without guards, but right now the situation is not looking so bad anymore for the Swiss side.
Brett Gallant, the Canadian third. Number 48, trying for hit and roll, heavy sweeping here. They really enforce their sweepers. Not enough though.
Halt dan. Ja, ja. Wenn wir so machen, spielt ist der Doppel, oder? So ist dann schon schwierig. Okay. Kannst du sogar ein bisschen die Linie nehmen, ein bisschen übercurlen. Wenn wir hier spielen, ist der Doppel nicht möglich. Muss er brechen genau Nase. Ja, gut.
Now the Swiss looking for a freeze.
Oh. Tief. Oh, sieht schnell aus, Trillo.
Good option.
Rechts. Habt ihr da raus? Nein. Sicher.
We really don't want to be on this rock, it's too heavy.
Nimm da. Zieh,
We're
Schläger,
looking for
komm.
plan B.
Zieh noch ein.
Take it
Weiter,
back.
weiter.
Yeah, I think that was only plan B.
Yeah, that was plan B. Turned out pretty good though. As
Okay.
this one's half buried.
Yeah. The ice is not curling so much, actually.
Well, this one was
It was a
too
bit heavy, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. I think it got a little bit colder outside.
Yeah.
Whereas yesterday we had 25 degrees, beautiful sunshine.
Yeah, that
Today,
was good.
overcast. Might just be the difference.
A little bit less swing. But it's still okay. I mean, you can still start, like, bury yourself behind a guard, everything. I mean, it's always quite important to have a decent amount of curl so that, every shot is possible. You can do hack weights or draws behind guards. There's nothing more frustrating than when the ice doesn't curl at all. You can't even go behind the guard.
Still lying shot rock. Brad Gushue is now going to take out yellow rock in front of the house. Just top 12 foot. I think he wants to stick around right on the center line. Still leaving a barrier for Michel to take out the shot rock. It's really a shot of precision here.
Well, it'll be a tricky double if ever he managed to hit and stay in front of the red. Big sweeping. And yeah, he even got a little lucky there with that little tick on the red.
He was a little lucky in that one.
Making if ever Michel wants to do a backline wait hit stay for 2, for example, and it would be a little bit more difficult. But
What we see
he's
are
looking
quite
for
a
freeze
few
now.
shots that overcurl a bit.
yeah,
So it's a misjudgment of the ice right now, I think.
yeah, maybe they curl a little bit too much. There's either they misread the ice or they didn't throw the rock properly. Sometimes it happens.
Ja, die Zeit war, glaube ich, ein bisschen zu viel.
Anyway, the result is still okay.
Ja.
There's always that little part of uncertainty. Every time you play a rock in curling, anything can happen.
Ja. Es muss ihm gehen. Lass ein bisschen weniger gehen.
Hä?
Spiel ein bisschen weniger. 65, 70. Ja. Ja.
Sven Michel of Switzerland is once again forced to freeze
5, 6.
as the Canadians are still controlling this semi-final here.
Yeah,
5.
especially with a big
Jetzt
3-point
gut.
lead.
5.
Gehörlich genug.
But
Jetzt gut.
yeah, I think that the freeze
Laat
is
het nog liggen.
within Sven's reach now.
6.
Line's looking really
Yeah.
good on this one.
Seems like a pretty good shot.
Just a bit too heavy.
Yeah, that tad bit heavy, but really not much. I think he will not be too disappointed though. You know, maybe it's not as perfect as he wanted. He still has a good position now in the house. He has a chance of scoring 2, even who knows, maybe 3. I mean, situation is not that bad. I don't have the impression that Brad Gushue can get rid of both yellows at the same time.
It's not really there.
So he has to be careful there, and yeah, he can maximum get rid of 1, and even it's a little tricky because he would have to pass really close to that red guard there.
Sven Michel really giving a hard task
Yeah.
to the Canadians here.
Oh, they got they're 3-point down. They really need to. I mean, it's 8 end game, so now there's 4 ends left to play, including this one. So, well, 3 ends and 2 rocks. So for them, it's really important to be back in the game as fast as they can. I mean, you can't wait until the 8th end having to score 3. You know.
Oh yeah. No kidding.
Let's try and take your 2 as fast as you can now. And so they're in a situation where it's solely possible. I think also he's not risking too much right now because he will have at least an open sight to draw for 1, just in case things turn out well for Brad Gushue.
So they did decide on a heavy takeout, just take it out there. I'm not sure whether that is enough ice. Let's see what Brad Gushue is coming up with.
Yeah, he has to be really close to that red rock. He's going for the big shot.
And it
Seems
curls,
like he's
and it
curling a bit too
curls.
much. Could be really bad, actually.
Yeah.
Ooh. I think he's still lucky because that red rock is
He got really lucky on this one.
is finally.
I personally have no idea why he would throw it with that turn.
I don't know. It's his choice. I mean, yeah, he went for it. He could have also played, let's say, freeze or something.
Oh yeah.
He could have come back exactly like Sven Michel. It's probably would have been my option in a way, you know, just freeze on it, leave him 1. Because the thing is that with that shot, he could have given him a really good chance to score 3. He probably still has a chance to score 3. He can hit that red between the 2 yellows, or yeah, it's very tough though to score 3. I think from that position.
It's a really tough shot to score 3.
But you know, when Michel is capable of pulling out those shots, you know they're really thinking because they will hit that red for sure. They can't let that occasion go of scoring at least 2.
Yeah, but you know, it's always a game of risk.
Where are you gonna go? Yeah.
Risk versus reward here.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tick it out and score 2. Moderately easy.
Yeah.
Or go for the really hard
Oh my
shot.
god, yeah, he's going for the crazy double. The inconvenient with that shot is that if he misses it, I mean, he gets the 1 stolen on him. As if he goes for a hit directly on the red, at least he scores 1, I think.
Now he's really going out there, though.
Yeah, it's virtually a shot for the game in the way, because if he doesn't make it, really wonder how they're going to manage to catch up.
Huh. Sven Michel was really convinced though, and straightforward deciding on this double takeout. So let's see whether he's living up to the task.
Yep.
Sven Michel from Albon, Switzerland, taking out the big weight for a double takeout and a possible 3.
Oh.
Das gibt's doch nicht.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Close, very close.
Oh no. That was a really nice try. Yeah, and that's one stolen by Team Gushue. And this event, the Baden Masters World Curling Champions Tour event, is presented by foxyapp.ch. Your success is our business.
This might have been just the miss of the game,
Oh yeah.
as Brad Gushue leading this game after 5 ends 5-1.
Yeah.
And as Sven Michel really is, well, let's call it angry.
Yeah, let's say angry, yeah. Disappointed.
Disappointed.
Yes,
He's-
very disappointed.
He's
I
very
can understand,
disappointed.
Yeah, because now they're losing by 4 points. It's 5-1 for Gushue. They have last strike on the 6th, but right now, I mean, they must absolutely score 2 if they really want to give themselves a chance to do something and manage to catch up. There's only 3 ends left to be played. And Canadians now will just put one in the rings. I mean, they're 4 rocks up. Take no risk. I think they're going to peel everything up. We're going to see a rocks in the center, corner guard, peel, corner guard, etc.
Geoff Walker drawing into the 12-foot. And as he said, Sven Michel is going to put up a corner guard. I think he's even going to go for 2 corner guards.
Oh, Görle. Ja, hat 2. Hat 2, 3. Görle, ist genug lang. 3. Genug lang. Oh, jetzt Görle, gut. Genau, bist genug lang, oder? Dann kann ich noch ein bisschen. Da gehst gut, da. Tipptopp, Gempi. Schön.
Geoff Walker drawing into the 4-foot now. No obstacle whatsoever for the Canadian, though he's going behind the tee line.
Gleiche Ache.
Yeah, well, situation which is not too bad for Sven Michel. He's going for his second corner guard first. He'll be playing in the center later. I mean, he knows what's going to happen now. Play corner guard, peel, then he'll have to replace the corner guard and peel. At some point, he'll have to decide to play in the center on these 2 red rocks. This one in the center actually quite well placed for him because he can freeze.
Gut. Sehr schön. Gut, Gempi.
We are live at the Baden Masters 2013, the first event of the Curling Champions Tour. We are into the semi-finals after 4 ends. We have Thomas Olsrud leading the game against Pascal Hess with 3 points against 2. And in our featured game, we have Brad Gushue from Newfoundland,
Boys.
Labrador, Canada, right now beating Sven Michel from Switzerland 5-1.
The game is a little bit tighter on the other sheet. Gushue from Norway that we saw yesterday beat their neighbors and friends from Sweden, m.baden. We have 2 teams out of 4 who will be participating in the Olympics.
Oh, and the big miss in our featured game.
Oh, yeah, indeed, we see Sven Michel quite disappointed. To not say angry there, I think, with his player.
I think we stick to the term disappointed.
Yeah.
He is very disappointed.
Yeah, it's you see that quite rarely now, but it happens from time to time. Kind of misses. Yeah, as we want to remind our spectators, if those are not too familiar with curling, that in order when you throw the rocks on this 40-meter long sheet of ice, so that the rock can remain in play, it has to cross that the thick line you see right there. It just crossed the Yellowstone just crossed, and stop in that zone, so that it can remain in play. If you just touch that thick line called the hog line, then yeah, then your rock is removed.
It's removed.
It's like if you hadn't played.
It's well, I'd consider it the worst miss you can have, probably.
Yeah,
it's you know, it's really a disappointment not only for the team but the player.
Yeah, it's especially if you've got the whole space. I mean, to put your guard in. I mean, it's like probably a 4 or 5 meter area where you can put your guard, and hogging the rock in that kind of situation is a bit yeah. As we saw the reaction of Sven Michel, who was quite angry at his player for that miss. Well, you never know. Sometimes it could also have been maybe a pick or something, but yeah, it happens from time to time. It happened to us in the final of the World Championship, so.
That's not fun.
In the last end.
That is not fun.
Yeah, so.
That was against Ericsson, eh?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was yeah, that was also a very, very frustrating miss. I think we were 1 down without last rock, and first rock is hogged for 2 centimeters. It's always something like that, and like, oh no. C'est la vie.
Well, Valentin Tanner survived. I saw him yesterday,
he
so
survived.
he survived.
He's in good shape, Valentin. Yeah. Despite being eliminated, the whole team is quite in good shape.
Going back to our feature game, where Brett Gallant is actually drawing, as they decided, well, let's leave it with the hits. Why not go for a steal and call it a day? Interesting decision. Very confident decision, though.
Wenn wir das hier behalten, können wir nur 9. Okay? Gut. Ja, wir müssen fast.
Which gives us, for both teams, a very, let's say, unusual game plan for that score.
Yeah.
Where we see Sven Michel now trying to run back his own yellow rock.
Back, back. Shooter gleich nach, shooter gleich nach.
Yeah. Well, he got a run back, but I think he really wanted to stick in the rings.
Achtung.
Okay.
Well, for Brad Gushue, the steal is still very much an option here. stealing the sixth end here, the game would be over.
Yeah, if I think if Brad Gushue wins this end, it will be probably a handshake.
Yes.
Especially that Team Michel really, I think, has been. Well, we were already mentioning that I think in the fourth end, at the start of the fourth end, is that Gushue was always actually in better positions and was always kind of running after Brad Gushue. But I think that didn't have the percentage there, but I think that percentage-wise, Gushue is playing. His team is playing better.
Well, there weren't a lot of misses on the Canadian side, where we saw quite a few misses. I think mostly in the front end of the Swiss side.
Yeah. Well, they also managed to get a good turnover in the fourth end. I mean, they were not in a really good situation during the whole end, but yeah, it was actually 2 misses from Sven Michel, and suddenly he can score 3. That's the problem when you're skip, you know, you get all the honors when you win, but when you lose, sometimes it can be all your fault in a way.
What?
Because the difficulty of being skip is that nobody's playing after you to catch up your mistakes. Behind you, there's a scoreboard. And often the scoreboard reflects sometimes the mistakes of the skip. Because as we saw, those two rocks that were missed costed them 3.
Being a skip, it's a role of give and take.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really particular role. I mean, not everybody can and wants to do it. I think most people don't even want to be skip. It's quite a responsibility.
Well, I'm just too cold.
Yeah, it's true that you also stand and.
I'm just too cold playing skip.
Yeah, what you
I
do
used to
is
play skip in the club league, and it's just bloody cold.
Yeah, what you should do is actually you should do like the Swedish team, the Swedish women's team, and play skip and lead. So you don't have the difficult shots, and you're skip.
Yeah. Canadians here really trying to figure out where should we put that rock. They still are in really, really good position to steal. And it will come down to a hard draw for Sven Michel, pretty much for sure here.
Yep. So Gushue thought it all out. He's going to play his first rock.
If you have any questions or do you want to leave a comment, just give us a shout, write us an email to live@curlingchampionstour.org or join us on Facebook. It's Live Curling on Lola1.tv.
Yeah,
It's our Facebook group. We're happily receiving comments, and we are even open for critics.
Yeah, sort of.
We appreciate every feedback we get. Thank you.
Yeah, do not hesitate to write us on that address at the bottom of your screen.
This one really dug in at the end there. Nice shot by Brad Gushue. Who pointed out to me yesterday why he's always the lone ranger of the Canadians at the Baden Masters. Well, it's quite simple. Coming to Switzerland is for him closer than going out west to Alberta or anything. So
2,5, ja.
Yeah.
He's living closer to Europe than to the west side of Canada. So that's a quite simple answer.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
2,5.
Yeah.
Ja, doppelt.
Anybody who's been to Canada has experienced those huge territories. Go play in the middle of nowhere.
Stop! Whoa. Back. Back.
Michel, a little bit on the heavy side here. Late sweeping action going on.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Great.
So the shooter is rolling and rolling and rolling, lying second now. Gushue, of course, decided to take that yellow rock out, splitting the house, lying 3, and forcing Sven Michel to score only 1. Gushue with the standard takeout, hit and stay to lie 3 in the 6th end of the semi-final. Nice shot. No difficulties whatsoever. Sven Michel will have to decide on drawing against 3 or hitting.
Yeah, they're a bit in trouble.
They're in big trouble.
In scoring 1, it will be 5-2. 2 ends left, 3 down without last struck in the 7th. Quite complicated. Of course, if he misses that, I suppose we'll see a handshake. Anyway, you have to make it. It's
a very motivated look on his face.
Okay, that's the handshake.
That's the handshake. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think not the best game we've seen from Sven Michel.
The defending champion of the Baden Masters is beaten by Gushue from Newfoundland Labrador. Certainly the key end was the 4th end where Gushue was able to score 3. I think we can certainly say that the Canadians were in control of the entire game.
Yeah, well, in the end, really, the Sven Michel only scoring 1 end, and yeah, was never really in the end in great positions. There's really those 2 big misses in the 4th end, who really allowed Gushue to take a big lead and to keep it. And well, yeah, they could have actually come back in the 5th end, but let's say, a bit of unluck, and didn't manage to make a really difficult double across the house for really not that much. They got that 1 stolen. They took a big risk. Well, in the end, it was, well, I don't know, it was not really a wrong call. He felt it. He was really close. I mean, if he had made it, it would have been wonderful. He would have been back with the 3. He didn't. You know, that's life.
That's what you get. They call it curling. It's our sport, and it's the beginning of the season. We're live at the Curling Champions Tour 2015. My name is Daniel Schifferle. So that was it from the semi-final in Baden Masters 2013. It was brought to you by foxyapp.ch. Your success is our business.
Yeah, exactly.
My name is Daniel Schifferly. I was joined today by Roger Golka, and we'll be back for the final of the first event of the Curling Champions Tour 2013, the Baden Masters, where we'll see Brad Gushue against either Thomas Olsrud or Pascal Hess.
Yeah, always a pleasure. We're looking forward to see the exciting final, I think at 1:30 this afternoon. And I don't know, well, I say bon appetit. And yeah, we'll see you later.